I am excited today to have Kieffer Rittenhouse on the podcast. Kieffer is a 30-year commercial insurance broker and partner at Integrated Insurance Solutions, specializing in risk management for small to mid-sized businesses. He focuses on protecting assets, solving problems, and leveraging trusted underwriter relationships to deliver smarter insurance solutions. Kieffer, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being on the show.
Dr. William, I am pumped as well. I'm looking forward to it, and it's been on the calendar for a while, so I'm really excited.
Welcome to Catalytic Leadership, the podcast designed to help leaders intentionally grow and thrive. Here is your host, author, and leadership and executive coach, Dr. William Attaway.
I would love to start with you sharing a little bit of your story with our listeners, particularly around your journey and your development as a leader. How did you get started?
It's kind of funny. Growing up in Baltimore, I went to a great high school, and I got involved with student council leadership there. And I went to a great college and got involved with student government there. So I've been leading and learning and facilitating others and working with other people and for a long time. And it's just been kind of I wouldn't say a natural for me, but it's been a blessing for me that I've been able to do it successfully for a long period of time. And professionally, I've ran a bunch of networking meetings and networking associations and created some trade organizations in the transportation business and a lot of different various, opportunities throughout my career too. So it's been pretty cool.
So tell me a little bit about how you got from where you started to now being a partner at IIS.
A lot of hard work, a lot of perseverance. That's, the insurance industry has definitely changed a lot over the last, 30 years. And it's, they're very digital now. So you have to pivot quickly and, learn different skills and use different tools than we used. It's kind of funny. Back in my Liberty Mutual days, we were using typewriters and filling out applications by hand. And, we got the Macs back then, and then, went digital, and now we just take pictures of things and, you can insure it with that. That's just crazy. Not that I'm trying to date myself or anything like that. But my kids,
I too remember the typewriter days. I'm with you there. Like as you think about that journey, like obviously a lot has changed technologically, to be sure. What are some of the things that haven't?
Bottom line is, we've always had our own brand. We've always created our own, network and our own people to do business with. It's all about taking care of the client. I mean, that better than anybody because you have a lot of them and they're in different spaces. And from a coaching standpoint, from a development standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, you got to be able to say at the end of the day, I did the best I could for that client. And, I have relationships that I've had for 25 years because of that. And,
wow.
And it's, and I would have clients longer if they didn't, if the second generation or third generation couldn't handle the business and it didn't sell. So I'm blessed to have those relationships and that's because you're their advocate. And that's the bottom line thing, from an insurance broker standpoint is I'm fighting for my client.
So let's talk about that for a minute. How do you develop and nurture those type of relationships that go the distance like that?
You become part of the family. You become part of the, the organization. They lean in on you when it comes to an insurance situation or a contract that has insurance language in it. And they ask me to, convert it into English for them. I have a really good friend who said, you speak insurance language English, and I convert that all over to make it make sense of it for a person that doesn't know that industry and my industry as well. So that's been very successful for me is just breaking it down and compartmentalizing it and making it simple for my clients to understand.
That's a gift. I think to take the complex and make it simple.
Yeah, totally. And that's what we do. That's what I do. And that's what my team does successfully.
We met as part of a networking group called Provisors. And we have been, I think, gifted with an opportunity to interact and get to know people in a lot of different spaces, but in one regional area. And that's something that I had not really spent a lot of time on prior to Provisors. My client base is all over the world. And so the key thing about getting to know people locally is really about those relationships. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you are intentional with building relationships even in a local geographical area?
It's funny. When I graduated from college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew how to meet people and introduce myself and be professional about it.
Mm,
That's, stood the test of time with me. I think if you look at my LinkedIn, you looked at my digital profile, you'll see that I have some pretty amazing followers and a pretty good network of people. And those people I just don't swipe yes to everybody or connect with everybody on that. You have to have a relationship. You have to have done something or had a meeting or had a lunch or had some, personal reflection or personal connection to those people before I've added them to my LinkedIn or, Facebook's even more, specific too. So I think, it's just taking care of people, giving them what they want and, listening to them and being a friend and being there. I'm not just selling insurance. I'm an advocate. I'm part of their team. I am a trusted advisor, really. And that's has paid dividends for me through my career. And I'm blessed for that.
I love that. That trusted advisor role, I think, is particularly important in the business space. I'm sure, like me, you are constantly inundated with people wanting to sell you something, people wanting your business. And whether it's on social media like LinkedIn, whether it's in email, phone calls, the spam calls never stop. Thinking about the 30-year run that you've had, the people who are listening to this by and large are business leaders or business owners, a lot of small business owners. And so as they are thinking about commercial insurance, I, so many of them are a lot like me, which is, man, that is not my world. I don't know. I don't understand. I know I need some stuff, but where do you even get started? Like if you're talking to people like that, where do you begin?
Well, it's kind of funny because I think most business owners think that, I'm working for the man or, I'm not an entrepreneur. And I really am. It's my book of business. It's my 30 years of legacy that I've built on my clients. And I get paid every year that I renew that piece of business. And if I don't take care of that piece of business or service that client the right way, then they can leave me tomorrow and I'm, down to zero from a commission standpoint for that client. So that's
Good word.
that's held the test of time for me. It's like, if I don't perform, please, fire me and you deserve better. And I've been blessed and I've kept a lot of these clients and I've grown my book of business successfully. And in the last couple of years, it's been easy to do that because, the insurance marketplace has changed so much that, the agents are retiring. The people aren't getting compensated the way I'm getting compensated every year. And, I get paid for performance basically. And that's the way I want to be forever, honestly. I, I remember going to straight commission, in my 30s and the kids were little and I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And it's just take care of the clients the way you've always taken care of clients. And the reward will be there at the end of the day. And I've been blessed. I really have.
I love that. With a run like yours, there are a lot of lessons along the way. In that entrepreneurial journey, what are some of the things that stand out as lessons that you've learned so far?
I tell you, one of the things I've kind of had an epiphany in the last, 3 or 4 years. I have a friend of mine, her name's Jackie Insinger. She wrote a book called Spark Brilliance. And I've always been a firm believer in the golden rule, treat other people how you want to be treated. And she kind of talks about the platinum rule in our book and how to apply that to businesses. She's applying it to education right now and a bunch of different other, industries. Asking the client how they want to be treated or how they want to be serviced has been one of my things that I've been really focusing on the last couple of years. And it's really, people are like, wow, I've never been asked that before from an insurance broker. let's think about that. And, and setting the parameters of how they want to be treated through the policy period and what they want, what the services are important to them. And that's been a pretty cool, guiding light, if you will, for me and my clients. I've been pretty successful picking up new clients. You know, Traditionally, you would have to fight for those clients and bid it out, but I've been lucky enough to get broker record letters and things like that because of my approach and because I am different. And,
Nice.
I backed up my words.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody gets through the entrepreneurial journey without some challenges. And, people might look at you today and say, oh man, he's so successful. He doesn't really have any challenges. He doesn't really have any problems. Can you think of a few of those that you'd like to share, challenges that you've had along the way?
I tell you, I have one. I have a challenge right now. And I'm going through. It's an account that I worked on about 4 years ago. It's a transportation account. They've had a couple bad claims, reported some claims late, and we placed their insurance coverage. Their insurance company went from $300,000 to $500,000, overnight, and that's a pretty shocking number. It's a pretty huge increase. And it wasn't because of me. It was because of the system and their old broker and a couple of situations that were out of their control. We've worked with them over the year. We've taken their claims to zero, and they're still getting, beat against the bush because of the industry that they're in. And, in one insurance company, wanted to exclude one of their drivers. It's been with them for 5 years. And, in the trucking business, transportation business, drivers are a hot commodity. You can't let one go because of some bad things on the record. And we dug deep. We're digging deeper. We're going to find out what those actual situations are and make sure that the insurance company and my client are defended properly and that we can keep that driver, keep that insurance in place for them. And we don't have a lot of, fruit to pick from out of the, insurance barrel because it's pretty dry on transportation. And it's been a challenge. I was up till 9:30 last night with that client on the phone, walking through some scenarios, asking them questions. So this morning we could be on the street with the right answers, talking to the underwriter and getting the numbers down and making sure they're renewed. But it's not as easy as it once was, but we're still in the fight and we love what we do and we love being advocates for our clients. And that's the best thing I do. It wakes me up every morning. Let's go kind of thing. It's a motivating factor.
I've worked with a number of insurance people over the years, and I got to say, I don't know that I would see anybody who has that level of passion for their clients, who's going to be that advocate, who's going to be on the phone at 9:30 at night. Wow.
It's funny you bring up the 30-year career, but I don't even think about the 30 years. I think about the next 30 years, honestly, and how much longer I'm going to be in the game. Everybody, you got to be retiring soon. I'm like, no way. I love this. I love meeting new entrepreneurs and new leaders and learning how their business ticks and, digging deeper into it so I can protect them and, put the right insurance, force field around them and take care of their families and their next generation of leaders in their company. And I just love what I do. So, God willing, and, my body holds out and my mind holds out, right? I mean, that's the big thing. I can do it for another, 20 years. My wife might be mad if I stayed 30. So we'll see what happens.
I love that. So often people talk about retirement and the context of that is, that's so that I can do what I want to do. Well, what if you're already doing what you want to do? What if you've been able to curate a life as an entrepreneur where you get to do what you want to do every day?
Yeah.
Why would you stop?
That's so true. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about that. It's if you love what you're doing, then it's not work, right? So, it's passion. So I definitely share that sentiment for sure.
That's it. Kieffer, you constantly have to be learning and growing, not just in your field, but as a leader of the team that you work with and for your clients. How do you stay on top of your game? How do you level up with the new leadership skills that your clients and your team are going to need you to have for the next 5, 10, 20 years?
I think, staying staying ahead of the technology game is really critical. Well, if my daughter was here, she would say, "Oh, you're such a boomer," but I'm not a boomer, and I'm fighting that, right? But technology. I just got a new phone. The phone can do a lot of things for you. It's got AI incorporated with it, and that's a big, advantage that we're working on within our practice, is to use that to be smarter and not work harder. And I think that you're going to really see that coming into full play here in the next year and a half in our industry. And taking advantage of that and being on the right side of that wave is going to really be critical for our businesses and our industry, and we're incorporating that, and we're embracing, other ideas, right? I mean, we're in Provisors together, and hearing how other business people, work through their challenges is great, to be in that forum to learn and to, be open-minded. So I think
Yes.
that'll benefit me if I can keep my big fat head focused and open-minded.
Well, and I think the joy that we have as Gen Xers, is that we can look at this and we can say, okay, I don't have to stop learning. I don't have to stop growing. I love that you're leaning into AI. So many small business owners that I know are not, and they're just kind of closing their eyes and hoping it's going to go away. The clue phone is ringing. It's not going away. It's
Yeah.
only going to become more and more pervasive, and learning how to leverage it for the benefit of our clients, for our business, not to replace people. I heard a guest on the podcast not long ago said, AI is not going to replace people. People who know how to use AI are going to replace people who don't. And I thought that was such a poignant statement, and so true in my experience so far, in helping clients learn to step into this and use these tools is one of the joys of what I get to do. I love that you are doing that you're not allowing this to pass you by.
Now, I'm not saying I'm on the Excel train with that. I'm definitely chugging down the track in old steam engine, but we're learning it, and we're trying to be as broad based as we can with the learning process. So the curve is still to be determined.
And there's so much that's unknown. That field. I was just yesterday talking with a guy who runs a company that does AI closers. It's actually conversational AI that will actually set appointments, book appointments, and phenomenal. So often people don't even know they're talking to the AI, and he's deploying this in so many different businesses right now.
Yeah,
And as we were talking about this, I said, so if I could solve one thing right now for you, what would you want me to solve? He said, let me know where AI is going in the next 6 months. He said, it changes every week. And I think that makes the learning curve for the rest of us who are not developers, who are not in that particular tech world. It makes it a lot harder for us, but we're not going to stop. We're going to keep pressing on.
Think how many thousands of dollars I paid, to learn how to be a closer throughout my career, and the seminars and all those tapes that we used to listen to back in the day. And you get a AI function that can close a deal for you, which is incredibly insane, but I love it.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
What if the AI was qualifying your leads? What if the AI is setting appointments for you to talk to? And that's what they're doing. And I'm like, that's so amazing. What a tool that is.
Yeah. I mean, that's
crazy.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
And we're at the front end.
We are.
And I think one of the gifts that you and I have is that we're going to continue learning, and we're going to lean into this. We may not be on the Acceler-train. I like that. We may not be on the Acceler-train at the very front end of the line, but we're not going to get left behind. True. Because we're going to lean in.
Yeah, we will, for sure. And, it's just amazing that, the technology is in our favor, and we just need to embrace it. And, it's tough being that, that first person to jump in, right? To make sure the pool water is the right temperature, but once you're in, it's always a delight. And, I'm very cautious on some of those closing docs, because I like being that person myself, but from a bandwidth standpoint, you're going to have to delegate certain things. And if you feel comfortable, that's a great way to, get leads and, prosper. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. Kieffer, if you were able right now to go back and talk to 25-year-old Kieffer,
Yeah.
knowing what you know now, what would you love to go back and tell yourself?
I talk about the crystal ball thing all the time. If you had a crystal ball with your clients, you could see into the future what's going to happen, whether you need this insurance or not. But going back, I would say, you know, you're on the right path, because that's one of those things that without mentors and things like that, and growing up, I didn't really have a lot of those people patting me on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, good job. You're on the right path. Just keep working harder, keep being diligent, and keep doing the things that make you money." And taking care of your clients and client advocacy. If you're good at that, you're going to always make money, and you're always going to have your pockets full. And I've been blessed to say that. And I think I've been a great dad. I've been a great husband. I could do some of those things maybe a little bit better and reach deeper into my pockets and spend more time in those realms. But from a professional standpoint, maybe get that CPCU or maybe work harder when school was easier, and get the designations behind my name to add credibility to what I bring to the table. Dr. William Attaway is a lot cooler than C. Kieffer Rittenhouse, and having those initials things I think really matter the older you get. And at 35, I don't think anybody pays attention to that. But my age now, if I had CPCU after my name, which is, a pretty high designation in our industry, that would be, telling for sure.
That's a good word. So thinking about your learning journey, is there a book that stands out that has made a big difference for you that you would recommend to the leaders who are listening?
I would definitely recommend Jackie Insinger's book. That's probably the Spark Brilliance. I think it's a quick read.
Yeah.
You can get it on Audible. She reads it to you, which is pretty cool. And there's a lot of energy with that. And this is eye opening for me. I listen more than I read. I'm a big David Goggins guy. He's crazy and out of whack, but I love his realism and factual, no BS kind of stuff. But I think that's a great book to read for anybody. And Jackie's very insightful, very smart, and she getting into her story is pretty cool. So I think that's a great book. Probably a little dated now,
Love
but
that.
it's good.
Well, they're called classics for a reason.
Yeah.
So often the insight and the wisdom is timeless.
True.
And learning how to contextualize that, I think, is a big deal.
Yeah, it really resonated with me because I was always a firm believer in the golden rule growing up, and hearing the platinum rule was kind of a wow. I never thought. Never would think of that. So it's great.
That's a great concept.
Yeah.
Kieffer, I know you are continuing to grow your business and continuing to serve your clients at a very high level. But that doesn't mean that you're immune to problems and challenges. You've already shared one of those today. If I had the ability to snap my fingers and solve one problem for you today in your business, what would you want that problem to be?
I think it's the people problem, right? Like, taking care of my team, making sure my team's not overworked, managing that piece and making sure they're happy and that not overbearing and that they're getting everything that they need out of their job. I think that that's something that we jam so hard. We're going so quick down the highway that we forget the people that got us to where we are, and making sure they're happy and making sure they're fulfilled as much as they're fulfilling me from a business standpoint, I think is really critical. And, growing that team with the right people, I think is mission critical to me. And, we definitely have some space to add people, and picking those right people that don't, really kind of upset the apple cart or, cause drama, would be the area that I think I would love you to snap your fingers and fix that for me.
As soon as I have that ability, man, I'm going to call you.
I'm on this podcast.
That's right. I think people are the messiest part of running any organization, any business. I think that we would like as leaders for everybody to be led the same, for everybody to respond the same, to just have a cookie cutter approach, one size fits all. But that's not how people are. And we have to
Sure
lead
used
them
to be.
according to how they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It sure used to be.
Good.
It used to be easier.
Kieffer, I'm so grateful to you for sharing today so much of the insight and the wisdom you've gained along the way. I know our listeners are going to want to stay connected to you and learn more about what you can do for them in the commercial insurance space. What's the best way for folks to connect with you?
Connect with me via email or my cell phone. My email, I think, is I added it somewhere in the chat room, but it's Kieffer Rittenhouse, K Rittenhouse at integrated-usa.com, and I'd be more than happy to take their email or respond to them and catch up with them, or my cell phone too. You can forward that to them as well if you would like.
Perfect. We'll have those in the show notes.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Kieffer, thanks so much for your time today and your generosity.
Thank you. I think you're an amazing person. I really love spending time with you, Dr. William Attaway. And anytime you need a favor, I'm here to help you. Thank you.
Well, right back at you, man. Thanks, Kieffer.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.